And welcome to the Writer's Life, the place you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life, and where you get the truth about the writer's life. Um, Never forget that. Sign up if you haven't already. Subscribe. Punch the like button and tap that bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on one. So you don't miss out on one exciting video. I'm coming to you from outside. I don't have a microphone or anything, so I hope you can hear me well enough. If not, just turn up the volume a little bit. Just a real quickie on memory. And I was listening to a little Jordan Peterson, and it got me thinking. Anyway, as writers, we use memory even when we're making stuff up, right? We use our memory. We use what we've seen, heard, felt, smelt, tasted, touched, all that sort of stuff, which is why I travel a lot, by the way, to create new memories. But we use our memory to even if we're just completely making something up, like a sci-fi story or whatever. It, but we use it to sort of create a foundation of reality, and we also use it for color and finish. You know, it without your memory, you're just not really going to be able to create um, a lifelike scenario or a scenario that people are going to believe when they're reading. Because even when people are reading the most outlandish fantasy type fiction, for instance, they want to have they want it to have an air of, now here's an SAT word for it, verisimilitude to it. And verisimilitude means it's like veritas. It's truth. And so even though it's fiction, they want to kind of read it and believe it. So much so that subconsciously they want to believe it like they lived the experience. That's always what Hemingway was going for. He relied on his memory so much that in his life experiences, of which he had so many, he relied on them so much that he invented this this thing where he wanted his writing to take the place of the reader's memory, and so that subconsciously they would think that what they read actually happened to them. That's what he was going for. That's quite amazing when you think about it. And sadly for him, he suffered from mental illness that he fought all his life, and towards the end, when he wasn't strong enough to fight it anymore, they gave him that dreadful um, electroshock therapy, which back in the early 60s wasn't as sophisticated as it is now. Now people do it, and it's not nearly as evasive, I guess you would say. But back then, it caused you to lose your memory for at least your short-term memory, and even long-term memory for a it was, I guess, a temporary amount of time. But they were so stupid about the whole thing back then. They didn't even, maybe you had if you were a patient, you would have the distinct impression that you might never get your memory back. And at one point, Hemingway was in the hospital at the Mayo Clinic. I think it's in Minneapolis. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, and President Kennedy was about to do his inaugural address, and they wanted him to be in the audience. They wanted Papa to be in the audience, and he was too sick to go. So Kennedy asked him, because Hemingway was one of Kennedy's favorite authors, and Kennedy asked him if he would write a few words about the inauguration afterwards. And Hemingway couldn't even put together, I don't think, a single sentence. His memory was shot, and along with he equated his memory with his ability to write. And then, by the way, I have the date wrong. 1963. That's when Kennedy got killed. I'm talking back in 1960, January of 1960. And then just about a year later, Hemingway blew his brains out. He just couldn't write it. He couldn't write anymore because his memory was shot. But on top of that, the memory is not just for art. The memory it has a utilitarian purpose. Um, Oftentimes we have bad memories. Like we can still remember like a bad memory from when we were like, we did something wrong at like 4 maybe or something like that. And it's still bugging us and we still dream about it and stuff like that. It's because you haven't resolved it. But just remind yourself you're not 4 years old anymore. So, or maybe you had a bad relationship and you still, even though you're over it, consciously, subconsciously, you keep dreaming about it, and you're like, and that's because you're like, where did I go wrong in this? Because I can't pinpoint it. I can't, for the life of me, I can't figure it out. And then you have good memories that you look back upon, and all too often, the the good memories that they're there. You want to create new good memories as well, and you think that's the point of your memory, really. You want to eradicate the bad and make even more good ones, I guess. But what you should do with the good ones is you should learn from them. Like if they're good memories, it means you were doing something right, and so you should build upon that and do things even more right in the future, right? Are you following me here, or am I just rambling? Anyway, the memory is an extremely useful tool for all of us, whether you're a writer or not. And just remember, in the end, that memories that are old, they're probably convoluted. Like you probably don't remember everything precisely as they happened, and in fact, the memory is sort of evolved or even de-evolved over time. Same with the good memories. They just sort of blend into one another, and then your subconscious takes over, and you dream about things, and that is directly related to your memory as well. Okay, so I'm going to cut this because I'm going way too long on this subject. Anyway, I find it fascinating, though, obviously. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out, and I hope to get to you guys tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.